Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And by now, you should know pretty much what's going on over there in the so-called Middle East, right? It's all-out war. And, we praying that this don't uh fizzle out. We praying that Yahweh Shem Yahushua, increase this thing because we tired of this place, man. We tired of the wicked being in rulership, having them to work and go through your daily afflictions and struggles and body aches and all that, man. Because being here is hell, man. But we gonna deal with it, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua told us to be patient. And Lord willing, we get to see this thing, increase. But as you've heard, the leader of Iran, Anatola, whatever his name is, he was put down. And, I was talking to a brother, and I told him, man, I said, that dude got put down. So you know what they want, man. They want, DJ Trump's head, or they want the other dude's head, Benjamin, Netanyahu. They want one of their heads, man. Because they're not going to just lay down, as Trump said, after they took the leader out. He was thinking that once he took the leader out, they was just going to bow down. Well, that's not the case, because you seen after that happened, a barrage of Iranian missiles hit all through the region, man. Hitting Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, all through the region, man. So they was hitting a whole bunch of places that, harbor weapons, for the U.S. and not only that, it came out that over 200 U.S. service members, soldiers, were put to death. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of blood being shed right now, but it's gonna get even bloodier. And we praying for that, man. So, I got like 3 videos. I'm gonna let them play through as much as I can. I'll come in here and there with some scriptures. We'll break it down like that. So Most High willing, the elect be edified. Let's get into it. Shalom.
Oh, Allah. Oh my. Bravo. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I forgot about Dubai. You got all these so-called black women wanting to go to Dubai. I've been hearing that lately, but look what's going on in Dubai. So you go over there if you want to, man.
Oh my days, over the beach club is fucking mental. Look at that. Literally directly above us. That's insane. They were so loud. It's mental. That is.
And look, people on the beach enjoying the sun. They don't know, man. This is a time of war. It's definitely up, man. It's definitely up. War's up, right? The end is here. And you got people out here that's just, what is it? Pretty much lost. Pretty much lost, man, as to what's going on, what's about to take place.
That is, oh my god, I have no words. In the safest country in the city in the world. Wow.
He said the safest country in the world. Well, from there, he should have knew that was a lie. So this was in Iran. This was a school. I was listening on this earlier, how they said that this school was close to a U.S. base or whatever. They saying that Iran had a failed. I don't know how true it is. But they saying Iran had a failed missile launch, and it hit the school and put a bunch of schoolgirls to death. Or it could have been from the U.S. Israel strike, man. You know how they get down. You know how Babylon and Israel gets down. They don't give a shit who they hit or what they hit, as long as they hit something. Right? So, yeah, man, this definitely, it's definitely on, man. And you've seen this a lot over there in Iran. But within them strikes, there was a target that was hit. That it surprised me because we was on the live Saturday, and right after we got off the live, no more than like 5 minutes. 5 minutes after, Slovakia. No more than like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes after the reports came out that, the supreme leader was put to death. So, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because we know that this can very well, ramp this thing up. We've been telling you that we don't have too much time left here. Right? The new kingdom is about to be ushered in. You're about to see some things that are unreal to you, man, but it's very real to us in the know, in this truth. This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. So that was how they did it in the old days, man. World War One, World War Two. Well, World War Two was pretty much both, but World War One, it's pretty much like mainly, face to face, right? Boots on the ground. But what's World War Three gonna be about? Let's see. It says, but this, meaning the Third World War, shall be with burning and fuel of fire, man. And that video I just showed with those clips of buildings being hit, hotels being burnt up, because of missile launches. That's all burning the fuel of fire. That's what brought that. So it's not gonna quit, man. It's not gonna stop, and it's not gonna quit. So let's get Joel, right? Because this is what's being gathered. This is definitely what's being gathered, man. You speak to certain people and they say America just gonna bomb Iran and they just gonna give in, they're gonna surrender. But that's not the case in this case, man, because it's different times, man. It's allies and prophecy don't say that, man. Prophecy says that this thing was gonna increase. And Iran has allies. Iran has allies, man, that are just as powerful as Babylon the Great. So this is Joel 3:9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Yeah, right, the Arab nations, because a lot of these Arab nations, they're gonna come together, man. They was bombed by Iran, but they're gonna realize that America is the problem. They're gonna realize that, man. The Lord's gonna put a spirit in the Persians and in Ishmael, right? Ishmael as a whole, meaning them Arabs, to turn on Babylon, man. Right? At the end of it all, everybody's gonna turn on Babylon the Great, man. It says, verse 9 again, it said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. All these nations, man. Let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Yeah, so that time of gardening and building up your country, man, get rid of that right now, man. Get rid of that. It's time for war, man. It's time to make weapons and show your strength. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. There cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Right? Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So that Third World War is going to be in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of decision, which is around the Euphrates River, man. Right? That's why it's being dried up, because it's being prepared for war. Right? So yeah, man. That's what it is, man. And this ain't gonna be no one and done. It's gonna go down real soon, man. So let's check this one out.
Trump is urging Iranians to, quote, take back their country. Good evening. I'm Betty Yu. The death of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei sending shockwaves across the globe and risking further instability in the Middle East. At this hour, we are monitoring the region. These are live pictures of Tel Aviv, Israel, where it's about 8 a.m. Sunday morning, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has threatened to launch its, quote, most intense offensive operation in retaliation for the supreme leader's death. The Israeli Defense Force says it is monitoring incoming missile strikes from Iran at this hour, and President Trump has warned Iran not to retaliate. It was about 24 hours ago the U.S. and Israel launched a major attack on Iran, killing the supreme leader and several other high-ranking military officials. Khamenei had led the country since 1989. His death follows a brutal crackdown on economic protests that left thousands of Iranian citizens dead and sparked a global outcry. Video shows people celebrating in the streets of.
So you got the country pretty much split, you know, because you got a lot of people that were celebrating this dude's death, and you got a lot of people that are mourning this dude's death and want blood. So
Courage, Iran, following news of.
So, you know, you're gonna have that. You know, that's in every country. You're gonna have a lot of people that like the way he ran the country, and you're gonna have people that didn't like it. But either way, we don't give a shit, man. We don't care about these Iranians. We don't care about these Ishmaelites. We don't care about none of these other nations, because, you know, Yahweh Shem Shas, he proclaimed vengeance. He's stated and prophesied the revenge for his saints, man. He's gonna avenge his saints. Let's go.
Khamenei's death. Our breaking news coverage continues with a closer look on what led to the strikes and what might come next. From Fox's Greg Palcott.
Following a major joint attack by the U.S. and Israel, President Donald Trump says Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is dead. In a social media post, he called the leader, quote, one of the most evil people in history. In an announcement early Saturday, he had a message for the Iranian people.
The hour of your freedom is at hand. Take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
More than 40 other senior Iranian security and regime figures were said to have been killed. The U.S. and Israel took the unusual decision to strike during daytime to achieve the element of surprise. Officials say they knew the Ayatollah and his top officials were in a specific location, then took out his compound. International security experts are skeptical whether a positive government change will be the outcome.
They are very likely to experience a lot of devastation and destruction, but it's not clear that this is actually going to be the step that leads to regime change in Iran.
The Ayatollah's death marks the second opportunity for a supreme leader change since 1989. But with no clear successor, the Islamic Republic now faces the crisis of a void in its top authority. Meanwhile, human rights advocates are warning that the fallout of the operation could lead to a regional, wider war.
It is civilians who end up paying the ultimate price.
Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar faced missiles and drones as Iran responded with retaliatory strikes targeting U.S. military installations. In Israel, sirens blared throughout the day, a warning to residents to run for shelter. Those strikes could also rattle global markets. Economic experts warn the conflict could drive up oil prices. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
And that's gonna happen, man. Your gas prices gonna go up. Everything gonna go up, man. You know, and it was told that after they, you know, killed the supreme leader, you know, Iran launched over 100 ballistic missiles at Israel and U.S. bases all over the region. And yeah, man. So it's a lot. It was a lot of places being hit and a lot of people dead, man. Right? So I got one more. We're going to shut it down. But let me get this real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 34, verse 8. It says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. Right? Well, Salakia, let me start. Let me start at 6. This is Isaiah 34 and 6. It says, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys and rams. For the Lord have a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. So these Edomites, these so-called white people, man, hey, the Lord got something real good for them coming up, right? The Lord got a great destruction for the nation of Edom, man, who are so-called white people, man. It says, and the unicorns, the elites, that's the elites, shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. So this is going to be, the future of Esau, Edom, right? Along with all of these nations, man, all of them. It says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion, man. And we are in that year of the Lord's vengeance and the Lord's recompense, for what these nations did to the Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. All these things are happening for what y'all did, what y'all are doing, and what you seek to do to the Israelites, man. It's not going to go unpunished. You all gonna get it, man. But the nation of Edom is gonna get it the worst. The worst, man. So let's check this last one out. Hear what this dude got to say.
Donald Trump is panicking as Iran has rejected his ceasefire offer. Donald Trump apparently only prepared for a 4 to 5 day war against Iran, and he assumed that if the United States were to kill the Ayatollah Khomeini, that Iran would immediately want a ceasefire and that Donald Trump would be able to declare a victory and that war would not spread throughout the region. Donald Trump was warned that his personal views that that's what would take place were wrong, and he was indeed wrong. Hat tip to Ynet. They were the first to report, and they're based out of Israel, that Donald Trump is now begging Iran for a ceasefire, and Iran immediately rejected it and said when there will not be a ceasefire will be on our terms. And now one of the major issues the United States is facing is, will we be running out of munitions? Do we have the capabilities for a long-term war if this drags out for many, many months? And in addition, we've learned some horrific news this morning that a number of our soldiers, a number of U.S. service members have indeed been killed in action during the war already. We've learned that there have been, so far, 3 U.S. service members killed in action. 5 have been seriously wounded so far during Operation Epic Fury, is what the Trump regime is calling it. We're referring to it at the Midas Touch Network as Operation Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, announced the deaths of these 3 U.S. service members. 5 are seriously wounded. We're following that. We're expecting, sadly, the number of deaths to increase. These casualties, as Open Source Intelligence Defender also notes, these casualties are likely the result of Iranian ballistic missiles and one-way attack drones that have been striking U.S. bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, with some bases suffering much more serious damage than had been previously reported or announced by CENTCOM. Indeed, our government is giving false information saying that the attacks have not been serious against our bases, only for us to learn later that they are indeed very, very serious. And now our service members have been killed, and Donald Trump has blood on his hands, and this whole regime in the United States has blood on their hands.
And you know, this this devil, he don't give a shit about, you military service members. He don't give a shit about none of you, man. You think you going over there to fight a war to protect your country when your country is the one that's fucking everything up, man. Your country is the one that's going to war with these other countries, you know? And ultimately, all you service members, all you military personnel, you all gonna be put to death when the Lord returns, man. If you think that you're gonna go to war and fight with Yahweh Shem Shah, you gotta be the dumbest person on the planet, man. But that the scriptures say that that's what they're gonna do, right? The scriptures tell you that you know when World War III is in full effect, right? When all these countries are shooting at each other, then that's when the Lord is gonna return with His army, right? And His army is is far from what you people think. But this thing gonna increase, man. It's gonna be countries that are gonna join this fight, and it's all everybody's gonna turn and fire missiles at America, man. So this is Ezekiel 38, because when this thing between the U.S., Israel against Iran took place, and being that it's taking place now, everybody's looking at what is China going to do? What is North Korea going to do? What is Russia going to do? Right? What is Turkey going to do? What is, all of these countries that have nuclear capabilities and that have nuclear missiles and that are pretty much a little a powerhouse, or however you say it, however you want to say it. Everybody's seeing, or everybody's waiting to see their response. But this is Ezekiel 38:1. It said, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog." Gog and the land of Magog, that's Russia, man. Right? It says, and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right? And say, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shah, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And the prince of Meshech, the prince of Russia, would be, Vladimir Putin at this time. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee forth. So the Lord is going to push not just Russia, but the rest of these countries into a third world war, man. Right? Because they trying to stay, back. But soon the Lord is going to put those hooks in the jaws of these other nations. This one is speaking solely on Russia, but the rest of these nations, the Lord is going to put hooks in their jaws and force them to fight, man. It says, and all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Persia is who? The Iranians. Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So, like what you're hearing is that all of these other nations, they're gonna gear up for war, man. You think that these nations are not seeing what's happening right now and saying to themselves, man, we could be next. We got to make a move. We got to get prepared. So all these nations are getting prepared, man. Right? So it says, Gomer, which are the Germans, right? And all his bands, the house of Togarmah, that's Turkey. It said, and of the quarters of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So it's going to be, allies of America jumping in, right? And you're going to have allies of Iran and Israel jumping in, man. It says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, because Russia is a guard to a lot of these other nations, specifically over there in the so-called Middle East, right? Iran has Russia as an ally, man. China is an ally to Iran and Russia, right? North Korea is an ally to Russia, China, and Iran, man. You know? So this thing can very well pop off, man. And the same way the U.S. sneak attacked Iran in the daytime, you know, whatever, it's the same way they're going to get sneak attacked, man. Same way. So I got one more. We're going to shut it down.
Iranian's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, he is alive, and he's stating this morning on state-run television that the interim leadership council is now operational and has assumed constitutional control of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Pezeshkian adds that we will continue the path of the leader with strength. Our armed forces are crushing the bases of enemies. No sign by Iran that they will be stopping their retaliatory actions against U.S. bases and U.S. interests within the Middle East anytime soon.
So there it is, man. We're going to close out with this. This is Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 25. Destruction cometh. They shall seek peace, and there shall be none. So ain't no peace, man. It ain't going to be no peace. No peace to the wicked. Right? We're in that time. World War III is at hand. Hey, man, repent, because we ain't got that much time left. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, for blessing me with the Spirit to do this lesson. To the next lesson. Shalom.